Strings of Malice, Book 1. Snowflake in an Alley. An Old Mother Nonsense Story. Chapter 27. The White Barrens. 6 years ago, in the White Barrens desert within the kingdom of Lunreth, Lunreth's vision swam along with the mirage. How long had he been out here? At least long enough to consider returning, and longer still to convince himself he would rather become lost to the ever-shifting sands of the White Barrens before ever letting that man lay eyes on him again. He was never going back. He'd keep himself that singular promise. His skin burned when he hit the sand, too tired to wonder any longer, too thirsty to do more than tilt his head in a desperate attempt to drink away any leftover sweat that may trickle down towards his mouth. He was left disappointed. Even off in the distance, he could already see the first sign of some winged raptor closing in. He could only hope he was allowed to pass before it began feasting on what little he had to offer. He felt like he was floating. Must have been dreaming at least. A slap stung his cheek. Not dead then, but his vision was blurry, and all he could make out were bright shapes of blue, gold, copper, and then black. Blissful, blissful black. The next had no color, but was still blissful. It must be the only word for the coolness running over his face and into his mouth. He jerked, body desperate to have more, but strong, rough hands held him firm, and a rough feminine voice commanded him to be still on pain of death. Well, he couldn't actually comprehend the words. Be they in his own tongue or one he did not know, that is what they sounded like. His hands came up to grip weakly at what vaguely felt like armor, and he tried to beg, but no words came out. His throat ached and he sobbed silently, roughly, tearlessly, until he spent more energy than he had to give. The black that followed was not quite so blissful, but it was welcomed nonetheless. This continued a while, wake to coolness, drink, words, crying, and dreamless sleep. Each time his vision cleared just a little more, and Lunreth soon came to know his fate. A dune witch had been the one to claim his body from the sand. He cursed the angel of luck for spurning him so. Had it been so very bad of him to want to escape his cruel master? Was this punishment truly what he deserved for being so discontent with the cards he'd been dealt? She was simultaneously beautiful and terrifying, as all witches were rumored to be. Scales covered her modesty, but not her figure. Claws donned her fingers, and her maw, for it was certainly not a mouth, showed rows of sharp fangs every time she spoke and smiled or sneered. At least she did smile a great deal. Every time he managed to swallow and keep it down, his service made her pretty with it. If he did not survive, Lunreth would have been content to have that fanged smile be the last thing he remembered of this life. She made him drink often. It tasted like water, and she had brought him somewhere cool, which vaguely smelled of green beneath the ever-present sand. There was a time he woke to pain unlike he had ever felt before. She was perched over him, clawed feet pinning his arms to his sides, while one hand held his head still and the other made regular trips between his neck and her mouth. Every touch burned, worse than any lashing he'd ever taken, and she kept talking in what he could now recognize as a foreign tongue of unknowns. A spell? A command? A reassurance? He didn't know, couldn't comprehend which. His face stung where her claws bit into his skin. She was going to kill him. He didn't want to die. Gods above and below, please, not like this. Not after everything he... His futile fighting clearly didn't please her, because a swift thump of her armored fist against the side of his head sent him back to black.